Hello everyone, this is another thought for the day coming to you on Wednesday the 28th of July. Now, before I go any further, a little announcement. I'll be making this announcement again on Friday, God willing. But Friday will be the last thought for the day for a wee while. We're going to take a break during the month of August, mostly because I'll be away on holiday, and I just thought that Guy and myself could take a little break from these chats during the month of August, and we'll pick up again at the end of the month or beginning of September, as long as appetite is still there and as long as there's people interested and enjoying these little chats. So we have had some positive feedback, so there's no reason to discontinue them just yet. So we'll keep going, God willing, after the holidays. Now, what I want to do just now is share something with you that I received, well, it was emailed to me, but I printed it off. It comes from the Crossway people. Crossway are a publishing company responsible for Christian books, and also for the very popular ESV, English Standard Version of the Bible, which seems to be gaining popularity in leaps and bounds. Well, I'm sharing this with you because I'm hoping and praying that by the time I get back from holiday, by the time we get August out of the way, so to speak, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get back and meet without a lot of the current restrictions. So, of course, some people are eager for that to happen. They just can't wait. They're dying to get back to church, so to speak. Others, we understand and appreciate, are still a little bit anxious about coming back to church. So what the Crossway people have done, I don't know whether you can see the title or not, they've written an open letter to the hesitant churchgoer. And what I thought I would do is just share this with you, some of the contents of this open letter anyway, because it is very applicable to ourselves as well as to others who are gearing up to come back to church as well. You know, when you think about it, friends, we're expecting all our children to go back to school in the middle of August, and I suppose we shouldn't be asking them to do anything that we're not willing to do ourselves. So if they can go back to school en masse without masks, well then perhaps we'll be able to get back to church en masse and without masks. So I'll just pick a few paragraphs that I think are interesting regarding those who are a wee bit nervous about coming back to church, which of course is completely understandable still. First of all, it talks here about our individualistic culture, and the culture in which we find ourselves will tempt to deliberate and decide things privately, and that includes about whether and when we want to return to church. And it tells us here that isolated thinking on important issues is rarely wise. And there's a quotation from Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. So rather than take a decision in isolation, it says here that instead of that, God has called us into relationships which are filled with time together, spiritual conversation, mutual prayer, heart openness, and healthy accountability. So if you're sitting at home pondering whether you should come back to church or not, read Proverbs 18 and verse 1 and just beware of taking decisions in isolation. There's another little section here about fear or faith, it's called, and we're encouraged here to seek to discern between our faith and our fears. Sometimes fear, of course, is healthy and appropriate and protects us from dangerous things, but Other times, fear is unhealthy and wrong, deceiving us and blinding us to bad decisions. So again, when you think about it, friends, I don't want to make it too simplistic, but if we've got the Lord on our side, how many times have we told ourselves that we're not to fear anything at all? There's another quite interesting little paragraph here on comfort or commitment, it's called. And I just quote again, sometimes our hearts take the wrong turn at the crossroads between commitment and comfort. In recent months, many believers have told me that they've had to push themselves to return to church services because they'd grown comfortable in their homes, comfortable with their no commute, no preparation, no dressing up Sunday mornings at home. Or they can just get comfortable because they can do whatever they want on the weekend and watch a recorded service later at their leisure. And it says here in big, bold, italic letters, God has called us into relationships filled with time together, spiritual conversation, mutual prayer, heart openness, and again, healthy accountability. If we're really looking for comfort, what we need most is not the comfort and pleasure of our own personal coffee, but the comfort of the bread and wine of communion, not the convenience of private watching, but the fellowship of corporate worship, not a commute-free morning, but the small inconveniences of preparation and travel that themselves are healthy acts of devotion to our risen Lord. I thought that was good. And really it just rounds things up here in a concluding couple of paragraphs. It says, ultimately, as Christians, we must remember that we're embodied creatures meant to interact in person. The local church is by definition an assembly. It's a physical gathering united by a spiritual identity. We're a body, not a prosthetic warehouse, not a pack of scattered lone wolves, a temple, not a dispersion of loose stones. We're not just solo ambassadors, but part of local embassies whose light shines brightest when we shine together, practicing the one another's and showing the world what a community is like when God is King. And then it just rounds things up by saying, the past year has been tumultuous and exhausting, with tectonic shifts in the way we live and work and relate with each other. Societies are changing. No one quite knows what the new normal will be. But as we experience the kinds of trouble that Jesus promises in our broken world, we should spend more time together, not less. With all appropriate caution and all biblical courage, we should consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. Just want to really leave you with one text from the second epistle of John, just the one chapter in this little letter. So it's verse 12 of 2 John. And John's writing here, and he says, look, having many things to write to you, I did not wish to do so with paper and ink, but I hope to come to you and speak face to face, that our joy may be full. Paper and ink is okay, the internet's okay, Zoom meetings, screens, computers are okay, and we're glad of them. But John says that we need to come together and speak face to face, that our joy may be full. So I leave those few thoughts with you from the Crossway people. I already know what I'm going to talk about during our last little thought for the day for the season. It's another thing that I've received. I'll just give you the title of it for now as a little appetizer, hoping that you'll come back and listen to what I have to say in a couple of days' time. And the title is quite simply, Things Will Never Be Normal, and That's Okay. So, another interesting article. Things will never be normal. I do believe that. But I also believe that it will be more than okay, because we'll learn to live with this situation with the Lord by our side. Okay, that's all for now. Please keep safe, keep praying, and I'll talk to you again on Friday the 30th of July. Until then, bye for now.